You want to start a lawn care business? Let me tell you what to do. You work hard by yourself, you stay in control of everything, and don't hire any people. Employees are hard to find, they don't show up and they complain they're never gonna do it as good as you. Don't listen to that guy, he's an idiot. What you need to do is grow a business, and then you need to start delegating. You hire the people, you get a crew leader, you get a foreman, you get somebody to take care of all that stuff, and then you, the business owner, can work on your business and not work in your business. I think both those guys are idiots. What you need to do is specialize in something, like become a hardscaper or a weed control fanatic or something special, because everybody and their brothers out there mowing the grass. That's exactly what you need to do. Hey, I'm Jason Creel. Sometimes it's confusing because you hear people that sound extremely convinced that their way is the right way, that you should do things. So I'm gonna try to provide some clarification for you. I've got 5 principles, if you want to call them that, to help you think through this of what you should do, because you know everybody makes good points. They sit there and say this is exactly what you do. No, you need to work by yourself. Oh no, you need to hire people so you can work on your business, not in your business, and all that. And all that sounds great, okay? It's just which one's telling the truth, because you have people and some of them are going to be successful doing different strategies. So let me try to provide some clarification for you in this video. First thing I would say, and principle number 1, is you need to understand who you are, the business owner. Because so-and-so that's telling you that you need to hire it and grow it big and work on your business and not in your business and all that, they may have a dynamic personality that can get out there and sell and grow and manage people and handle high levels of stress, and it doesn't bother them, and it all works for them, and then next thing you know, 3 years later, they're making millions of dollars and all that. And that may be you too, or it may not be. You may have a tendency where you don't want to handle the employees and you want to handle everything yourself, or maybe you actually enjoy being out in the field, or maybe you want to choose a hybrid. You say, you know what, I don't know about the whole just being the salesperson and just working on my business, not in it. I kind of like to do a little bit of both. I like being in the field doing work, but I don't want to do everything myself. I wouldn't mind having a few employees and us out there working together. And all those strategies can work. Obviously, it would seem to be the bigger strategy of just growing and having this huge company is going to give you the more potential, is also the more risk involved. If you just work by yourself, I mean, that there is potential and you can do decent. I work by myself now, but you are limited. I mean, I can't just go out here and mow 100 yards today, where if you had tons of employees, you could mow 100 yards. But just because something is a fit for someone else doesn't mean it's a fit for you. For instance, you may have like a local barbecue restaurant, let's say in your hometown. They just have one, it's great and it's packed out, and the owner's out there shaking hands and hugging babies and all that and just having a great time, and there might be another barbecue place that doesn't have as good of food, and they franchise and they're going all over the country. Well, which one's right and which one's wrong? Well, it just may be the fit that these owners don't have that big vision to do that. Does that mean they're not successful? I wouldn't say so. I'd say they're successful in a different way. The ones that franchise, they may do great. They may go bankrupt. We don't know. But to me, it's about you, the owner, and if it's trying to grow huge and you're not a personality that's wired like that to get out there and sell a lot and manage a lot of people, then it's probably, even if it works financially, going to be very stressful for you. And then if you're a person that just honestly don't like to get dirt on your fingernails, the idea of you being out there doing all the work and being a solo operator is probably not real enticing to you. So understand who you are and make your decision based off of that. Well, the next thing I would say is, no matter which of those paths you choose, you need to charge accordingly. Now, there's some indication that if you were to work by yourself, then obviously you could just charge a little bit less because you are doing all the labor. You don't have the overhead of the labor. Well, that's not a great strategy. I mean, there is maybe a little bit of truth to that you can charge less, but one, it's probably gonna wear you down. And I think the other side of that is, if you work by yourself, you have a limited capacity of how many clients you can take on, or how much work you can take on. So once you fill that up, the only way you're gonna really make more money is getting higher paying clients or going up on the price or whatever. So, you know, at some point, you need to realize that like there's only so much work you can do, and so it might as well be profitable work. So I think in that situation, I would still argue for a little bit higher prices, because you're capped at what you can do as a single individual. Now, let's say you're going the other extreme and you want to grow and you want to hire people and you want to manage the business and all that. Well, then you need to charge accordingly, because you got a lot more overhead involved with the people and the equipment and all that it takes to run a bigger operation. So yeah, maybe the guy with the one solo operator, he could charge 40 bucks to mow that yard, and it's just him out there mowing that yard. That's not necessarily a great idea. The guy with the big operation, if he charged $40, he might literally lose money on the job. So so they both of them have different reasons for charging accordingly to their pricing. But in either sense, I think there's motivation to charge and to target clients that are willing to pay a little bit higher prices. No matter what, efficiency is still very important. So you can't just charge so much money that you can just run around being inefficient. You still need to run an efficient business. I decided to change scenery for the rest of the video. All right, so the third thing I want to encourage you to do is to differentiate. So again, whether you're big, small, whatever, mowing grass is great. I think it is great, and it's a very easy way to get into the business, but it's also extremely crowded and sometimes lower margins on that. So if you are able to differentiate, what I did was get into weed control and fertilization, but other people get into landscaping, and it doesn't mean you have to stop mowing. You can mow and do weed control and fertilization, or you can mow and do landscaping. And maybe as you start to build up your clientele on those higher paying services, you might dwindle down your mowing a little bit. What some people do, they'll keep the mowing going because that ends up being a good lead source for the higher paying job. So for instance, let's say my mowing crew is out 2 days a week and we have these consistent high paying mowing clients, but that gives us 3 days a week to get out there and do landscaping jobs. Or maybe you're mowing and you want to start a spray truck, so you go there and you have a weed control truck that's separate from your mowing crew, and as you build that, you might can shift some things around. For me, doing the weed control, it was kind of a game changer. I live in the South. We spray lawns year round, which has been great, and one of the biggest benefits of that was the year-round income, and I mean year-round consistent, steady income without all the ebbs and flows. So that was a game changer for me, plus the higher margins. One of the things, I'm gonna go ahead and plug it right here, is we are having a hands-on field day. It's designed for a smaller crowd, maybe 20 to 30 people that are serious about getting into weed control and fertilization this next year. I was recently talking with the Almonds, Caleb and Brittany Almond. They have a training class that they're starting in December, which I'm excited for them. They're building a big workshop and they are teaching people how to get into hardscaping. So if you want to learn how to build retaining walls, put in patios, things like that, you could take a class like that. And again, you just, something like that, you just start small, you build a little patio for a relative or for yourself, and then it starts growing and you acquire equipment and all those things. So that goes back again to the other thing about knowing who you are. I like the idea of hardscaping, but I don't think I'm really the person to pull that off. I'm not great with equipment and all that. So the weed control has been a good fit for me, but other people might enjoy the landscape. And that's not the only two things you can do. I mean, there's so many things you can differentiate. Even me doing weed control, I could differentiate and get into mosquito spraying. And every time you're reducing the amount of competition and adding a higher profitable service. One of the things Stan the Dirt Monkey told me a while back, I heard him talking, I think he learned from some book he had listened to, but the idea of being a jack of all trades and the master of two is what he says. And that stuck with me because you hear it all the time, master of one. And maybe I'm just trying to be the master of one doing weed control, but he was saying something like they do retaining walls, I think, and put in demo houses or swimming pools or something, fill in swivel. I forget what his two were. But the point being, you know, if you can have a set of skills that not everybody has, it goes with this, then again, you can charge more money because not everybody can run and do it. And it doesn't mean you can't make good money mowing grass, but it's not a very specialized skill. And believe me, I'm a defender of people that mow grass and understand that not everybody can do it, and some people are much better at it than others. But it's not super specialized. We can admit that, hopefully. The fourth thing I want to mention, whether you're a big company, small company, whatever, is you got to learn to conquer profit, you know, because I think sometimes, like, if you're a big company and you're just making a lot of revenue all the time and you don't sit down and look at, are you really profitable? And that happens, I think, a lot of times when people are start off mowing grass, let's say by yourself, and you start to grow, and then you hire somebody, and then maybe hire somebody else. Now you're a 3-person crew, and you have all the overhead that comes with that and the headaches. And then a lot of times what happens is they shrink back down to working by themselves again because the employee quit and they just never replaced them. And they found out that, you know what, I don't know if I was making any more solo than I was employees. Now, that shouldn't necessarily be the case, but it kind of showed that you weren't in a position profitability-wise to be able to hire the employees. You had to go back and doing everything by yourself. And that's not bad if that's what you want to do. But like me working by myself, I'm trying to get to a position where I think, you know what, if I did hire somebody and didn't do the work myself, would I still be profitable? I mean, would it actually make sense? Because if the answer is, oh, if I hired somebody, I would definitely be losing money now. Well, that's kind of a reflection on your business. So I'm having to self-evaluate in this and make sure that I'm making profit. I was recently at a trade show and I heard Andy Mulder speak, and he said over the past several years he's kept the same amount of employees but grown by 50% in profitability each year. I think that's what he said. Maybe it was revenue, I don't know, but it's something, it was astronomical. It caught my attention, and I thought, you know what, that's great, because you don't necessarily have to grow in size to grow in profitability. Now at some point you can only be so profitable because you have certain costs. But it just shows that sometimes that might mean raising prices. Sometimes it might mean just being much more efficient. And that's what I'm trying to really do a great job of. I was talking today, I said, I think I could probably, I don't think this is exaggeration, I think I could probably spray 200 of my yards on one tank of gas in my truck. Now it hasn't always been that way, and I've got some others that are more spread out. And I think if put to the test, I could do it. And I'm really happy about that, because that shows that I'm efficient. Not just about saving the gas money, but it's about the time in between the stops, and can I get 14 yards done today or 24 yards done today, and 24 small ones spray. And that's not an unrealistic number if they're small yards and you have a really tight route. So I think those are things you got to think through also, and not just, you know, growing big. And did we make more money than we did last year? Well, I mean, that's not necessarily always a great thing. You want to make more money, but are you actually making more profit? Remember, it sounds simple, but more revenue without more profit just means you're probably just working more, making the same amount of money, or even less. The fifth thing I want to mention is an exit strategy. This is tough. I mean, I don't know, like for me, you need to have kind of one or two plans. There's probably others, but let's say you want to grow big and be profitable with the idea that you can sell the business one day. And my plan, or your plan might be, I'm going to sell out, and that's going to be how I'm going to get out of the business. Or you could have kind of a generational business and keep it in the family for a while, or sell it to an employee, something like that. That could be a plan. Or another plan is you're just going to be very highly profitable and try to save and invest and self-retire. And that's what I'm trying to do. I'm not saying I've done a great job of it, but working toward self-retiring. And yes, my business might be worth something one day, but it's probably not going to be worth millions of dollars unless I do some serious growing. So those options, again, go back to who you are as a person, what you're comfortable with. Do you want to try to grow something huge and sell it one day for multiple millions of dollars? There's probably going to be a few headaches along the way, and you might be just the person to make that happen and loves the thrill ride of it. Or that the thought of that may stress you out so bad that you just don't want any part of that, and you're happily take less money to not have to deal with the headaches. So understand who you are. It goes back to the first principle that we mentioned. I've got a lot of resources at lawncarelife.com. I've also got over 1,000 videos on the channel. I've been on here for like 11 years. So if you haven't done so, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Go check out those resources. If you want to get into weed control and fertilization, there's the Weed Control and Fertilization Academy. Also, I mentioned the live training day on November 29th near Birmingham, Alabama. If you buy the Weed Control and Fertilization Academy, or if you actually already bought it in the past, it's $397. Then you can come to the field training day for free. If you want to just come to the field training day, it's $297. Again, those links are in the description below. But I hope this video is helpful. I'd love to hear from your comments. And if I was going to start a business next year, a lawn business, I would be working very hard to get everything ready right now, because you want to be ready to go when the spring rush comes. And even for us in the South, I mean, by January, if I was going to start spraying, like I'm going to be spraying in January, early January where I live. So I don't want to be scrambling around trying to get everything ready. What am I going to call my business? I guess I need to go open my bank account. You know, I guess I need a sprayer. Like, I want to have all that done. I'm ready to go. I'm ready for that customer to call me. When he does, I'm going to be the first one in his door giving him a quote. So just get motivated. Don't let the winter get you down, and start working toward what you're trying to build. And come up with some sort of plan based on these 5 principles of where do you fit on this? What level of stress are you comfortable with, and what size growth are you looking to achieve? Thanks for watching. Leave me a comment. We'll see you guys in the next video.